This news just came out, and the source of the news is quite trustworthy, because of which I am going to put it out there even before the regular media picks it up, hopefully, if this does not take a lot of time to upload. So it has recently been found out that the couple who had so-called misbehaved with the Delhi police when they refused to wear a mask has been now remanded to judicial custody upon their arrest. This was common news that they were arrested. Recently, just say 10 minutes back, it was found out that the bail of this couple has also been rejected by the court. The reasoning I wanted to go into and reiterate a very, very common lesson that every citizen should understand, that being as follows. Now, if you look at it, the information says that the couple has been charged under sections 188, 186, 353, 269 and section 34 of the Indian Penal Code, along with section 53B of the Disaster Management Act. If we quickly go through what all these sections are, section 186 says obstructing public servant in discharge of public functions. Whoever voluntarily obstructs any public servant in the discharge of his public functions shall be punished with an imprisonment of either description, which may extend to 3 months or which may extend to a small fine as well. 188 says disobedience to order duly promulgated by public servant, under which most people are nowadays charged with anyways. Whoever, knowing that by an order promulgated by a public servant lawfully empowered to promulgate such order, he is directed to abstain from a certain act or to take certain order with certain property in his possession or under his management, disobeys such direction, shall, if such disobedience causes or tends to cause obstruction, annoyance or injury, or risk of obstruction, annoyance or injury to any person lawfully employed, be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month or with fine, and keeps going on, not really that relevant. Next section is section 269, negligent act likely to spread infection of disease dangerous to life. Quite self-explanatory. Moving on. Now here, I want to pause for a moment and explain to you that before this, all the sections that I talked about and section 53B of the Disaster Management Act, which says that whoever without reasonable cause obstructs any officer or employee of the central government or state government or a person authorized by the national authority or state authority or district authority in the discharge of his functions under the Act, or now 51B, refuses to comply with any direction given by or on behalf of the central government or the state government or the National Executive Committee or the State Executive Committee or the district authority under this Act, shall on conviction be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year or with fine. Even in this and the other preceding sections, these all sections are bailable, which means that, as I reiterate in several of my videos, a bailable offense means an offense for which the police, they can register an FIR, they can charge you, but if they arrest you, they only arrest you on paper and they cannot remand you into either police custody or judicial custody, and they, as a matter of right to you, they have to immediately release you on bail after calling maybe a surety and making you sign a bail bond. But here, this couple faced this difficulty, and because of this and connected reasons, I always tell everyone, even if you have done nothing wrong, there is never any point in getting cocky with the police, getting belligerent with the police, because the police have ample things in their arsenal to attack you and to take you down and to make life miserable for you. So you assert yourself, but you always maintain the deference to the police officer who is in front of you, who to a certain extent you have to respect his authority, the fact that he is authorized by law to take certain steps for your protection on most days. And of course, if there is abuse, there is ample remedy available. And when people reach out to me and ask me if they should exercise that remedy, I tell them to exercise restraint there as well in reality, because if the police, you go ahead and you file your complaint under section 7 of the Prevention of Corruption Act, there is a very good chance that this cop will come after you, as I have seen happen many occasions. The cop will come after you, send a friend after you, file a false case against you. A lot of things happen. So be sure that if you're doing this, you understand that there can be very, very harsh consequences. Now, in this particular situation, the allegation is allegedly this couple also misbehaved with the police, and therefore section 353 of the Indian Penal Code was also imposed upon them. Deliberately, some could say, to charge them with a non-bailable offense so that they cannot get bail and they will not be released immediately. And that is section 353, which says assault or criminal force to deter public servant from discharge of his duty. Whoever assaults or uses criminal force to any person being a public servant in the execution of his duty as such public servant, or with intent to prevent or deter that person from discharging his duty as such public servant, or in consequence of anything done or attempted to be done by such person in the lawful discharge of his duty as such public servant, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years, or with fine, or with both. I do not expect you to remember any of that. Just the heading is enough. Assault or criminal force to deter public servant from discharge of his duty. Which basically means that they have now alleged, the police have alleged, that this couple, although I have not seen any video where I have seen them getting into any sort of physical altercation with the police, it is possible that, it is just a false charge. It is possible that, that they actually did it off camera. So whatever be the case, this is the reason why they are not immediately released, where they are still in custody. But in all probability, sure, as I've also reiterated on several occasions, the court of the magistrate is always very, very restrained when it comes to granting bail to an accused person. And you have to always rely upon the good judgment of the appellate courts, not appellate courts in this particular situation, but the Sessions Court. If not the Sessions Court, then the Honorable High Court of Delhi. And on really, really bad days, you might even have to go to the Supreme Court of India. That said, can you go to jail if you do not wear a mask? The short answer is no, you cannot, unless you get into a situation where you make a public debacle out of yourself and you also assault or use force against a police officer who is telling you to do so, or who is trying to cut you a challan of rupees 2,000. This important distinction is always something to remember when you are fighting out any case, not for the purpose of mask. For God's sake, people reaching out and saying, is this right? Is this wrong? I say, to hell with it. The government mandates it, go for it. If we perhaps choose to invoke civil disobedience and not wear masks when we are driving alone in the car, perhaps we can talk about it on some other day. But for right now, if you misbehave with the police, you can go to jail. Otherwise, it's a bailable offense, and the police are duty bound to release you immediately. On a side note, someone told me that he was driving on the road. The police said, cut a challan. He was requesting them not to cut a challan. And in that moment, the cop thrashed the person. And again, I have to, the legality of imposing masks be set aside for a moment, as a separate topic. But thrashing someone is definitely, which should not be done, either by a civilian, as is alleged over here, or by the police, who are also doing their duty. If you are committing an offense, all they can do is they can follow the Criminal Procedure Code, which gives them all the power that they are able to exercise, and not go beyond it and use extrajudicial means to teach a lesson to the citizen. That is completely unacceptable. Anyways, until next time.